What's going on, guys? Hey, we're at the end of the Madden year, and I want to thank everybody that has joined and subscribed to us, whether it's YouTube, our film room, or bought one of our ebooks. Just wanted to say thank you to all. And I just wanted to go over a couple of early tips that you can do for Madden 15 to help you be successful early on. A lot of these are fairly basic tips that you can do that's going to help your gameplay out. As most of you know, a lot of the mechanics have changed. From what we know, the defense is going to be extra tough this year. They more or less have tuned down the offense, made things tougher. It's going to be tougher to run the ball, especially to the outside. They've made the defense a little bit better from what we hear. They've added some new formations, some different plays to help you cover up, your defense, disguise your defense a little bit better. Also added some wide formations. There are a few tips that are going to help you early on, and we're going to kind of get started here with one. First thing you're going to want to do is, no matter what level you are and you want to play the game, from day one and be successful, you need to get the demo. The demo is going to tell you a lot of how the game's going to play. There's going to be some things on the demo that will change when the actual game is released, but for the most part, if you get the demo, you're going to have a general idea of how the games play, and you can learn the new controls, the new features, especially on defense. What we generally do when that demo comes out is we try to learn the new mechanics. We try to figure out, what routes are going to beat man coverage, what's going to beat zone, how well the nanos are going to work, figure out what you're going to do on defense. Is blitzing going to be effective? Can you create nanos? That type of thing. That's tip number one. Get the demo, practice gameplay, and just, get a feel for the game. Once the game is released and you kind of have an idea of how the game's going to play, what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to pick two offensive playbooks. It's good, maybe even only pick one. You're going to want to get one playbook, and you're going to want to learn it inside and out. And I have found that if you stick with that playbook throughout the year, it's going to increase your success, because you're going to learn the playbook. You're going to know what works in certain situations. You're not going to be fumbling around in plays and making, errors that you generally would because you don't know how the play actually works. Learn how to read the defense a little bit, based on whatever playbook you choose. What I always do is I try to formulate my game plan around the quick audibles. What that will do for you, for instance, I pick a play that's not in my quick audibles, and then based on what my opponent shows me, then I'll either audible to a different play, I'll keep the same play. You guys kind of get the idea, but try to revolve your scheme, whether it's run heavy or pass heavy, around your quick audibles. Get to know your quick audibles, because it does work. What that does is basically, if you pick a play that's not in your quick audibles, it gives you 5 plays at your disposal. And, depending on how advanced you are, it also, if you know your quick audibles, you can also audible to another formation. Also, the play clock, the gameplay clock, is only going to be set for 25 seconds if you're playing MUT. I don't know what it's going to be in online play, but you're going to have to make decisions fast, and you're not going to be able to set up that fast on offense. So you want to get used to that and figure out what to do, in order to not get stupid delay game penalties. I know a couple of years ago in NCAA they changed the game clock and something, and people were always getting delay game penalties. It was annoying. So figure that out. When you're formulating a defensive scheme too, always try to revolve that around what works. Use your quick audibles. What I did in 2014 for Madden 25, a lot of times I would call a unique blitz or call a cover 4. That way you have 5 different audibles, just like we talked about on offense. 5 different audibles. Try to make everything look the same. I like playing out of formations that if you come out in a cover 3, it's not necessarily, if you press, it's not necessarily going to look like cover 3. It's going to look like a cover 2. Try to make everything look the same, whether you're playing coverage, whether you're blitzing, you know, trying to stop the run. Just try to make everything look the same, and then, you know, disguise as your number one friend when it comes to formulating a defense, in my opinion. Also, you know, concentrate first, probably, unless the passing game is way overpowered, which I know that it's not going to be this year. It's going to be tough to pass. You're going to want to lab stuff that's going to stop the run, and don't blitz all the time. Blitzing usually isn't the answer. What happens, even if you're run blitzing, if your opponent makes one guy miss, he's got an open shot for, he's just got to outrun somebody basically for a touchdown. So keep that in mind. Typically zones have worked better in the most part for stopping the run. Learn, also another good tip is to learn how to user a linebacker. Usually somebody that's going to be on a halfback or a fullback, depending on, you know, what your opponent comes out in. Get good at using him. You know, find your opponent's tendencies and basically try to cover or make it tough for him to pass. You know, try to bait him is what you're doing. If you get good at using a linebacker or even a safety, what that does, especially if you're making your defense look the same, it's going to make your opponent make a decision. And, you know, if you force him to make a decision, a lot of times, if you take away his first read, he's not going to have time to throw the ball, or he's going to make a dumb decision. So that's another tip that will help you early on in Madden. So then we talked about, you know, stopping the run, working on that, and using, you know, get good at user skills, you know, take advantage of some of the tools that are out there in the game that are going to help you get better at that. Also, you know, depending on how the game actually plays, you're probably going to want to match your defensive personnel with whatever formation your opponent comes out in. You know, in other words, if your opponent lines up in a 5-wide set, it's probably not going to be the best idea to come out in like a 4-6 bear formation or something like that. At least come out in a nickel type formation, you know, or quarter. You're going to want to try to match up, especially with the audibles. You know, a lot of people, they come out in, let's say, an I formation, and you come out in the quarters. He's going to use a hurry up against you and just pound the ball up the middle or utilize the tight end. And an offensive tip that you want to do is, if your opponent does this to you, you know, if you come out in an I heavy formation, he comes out in the quarters or something like that, use the hurry up, you know, if you can. Just keep cramming the ball down his throat, utilize your tight end, throw in some passes, quick passes, you know, keep them in a mismatched defense as long as you can. Don't overexert your players. In other words, if you see a player that's in, like your halfback's in a dark red, that means he's very fatigued. You keep running him, he's going to fumble. So you want to kind of get out of that and keep that in mind when using the hurry up offense. But you can get big yardage by taking advantage of people if they do that to you on defense. And basically, guys, that's it. The biggest tip that I can give you, most of you guys don't have time to lab and, you know, figure out a quick, effective scheme. We're going to be right on top of things. We're going to be releasing, you know, the first tips in the film room right when we find them and find out what works. So probably from day one, You know, there's going to be tips in the film room. This is going to help you out. Doesn't matter what playbook that you use. The schemes are going to help you on offense and defense. This year we got the best staff ever. Of course, you know, Purple Kush, the Mutt 25 PS4 winner. He's going to be with us, and he's going to make some ebooks and contribute to the film room. You know, we got EW the Third, which is an extremely good baller that's helping us out, and excuse me, also AP All Day, which he's also a very extremely good player that's been around. All these guys have been around for a while, know the game inside and out. We're going to be bringing you the best tips and the most tips along with the best ebooks. So anyways, guys, I put a link down at the bottom. I hope these tips that we just gave you are going to help you, you know, for early success and basically build a foundation so you can be successful later on in the year as well. This year is going to be based more on football than ever. There's going to be a lot of changes. EA is really geared toward making this a sim game. So there's going to be a lot of changes, guys. We'll be on top of them for you. We're going to show you the tricks and tips, you know, cheats, glitches, whatever that work in the game to help you be successful. So if you haven't subscribed, get an early start. We're going to even have some demo tips for Madden 15 as soon as the demo comes out. So join us today. Talk to you guys later. And once again, thanks for